What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for yet another Tottenham update video to bring to you today. It is international break and it's nearly closed now, nearly finished international break. The last day, the Premier League is back this weekend. But what we're going to start with is the England squad, and it looks as though Eric Dier has pulled out with a minor hamstring of the England-Denmark game tonight, as well as Harry Winks, who's also pulled out. Reason unconfirmed yet with Harry Winks, and there's been a couple of other players as well. Harvey Barnes, Tammy Abraham, I think Ben Chilwell as well, pulled out the England
Kieran
squad.
Trippier for a betting.
Yeah, I mean, he has a hearing in England with the FA, doesn't he? But look, Eric Dier with a minor hamstring injury. We've had our scares with Reguilon and Kane, but now it's coming to the fore that we've got a bit of injuries now. Yeah,
and also Kane set to start tonight for England. They're saying even though he's suffering from, quote, muscle fatigue, as Southgate said, even despite that, he said he's not injured, so he's available for selection. So it looks like he's set to start tonight, which obviously I'm sure Mourinho is not very happy about. But maybe he's recovered from the fatigue and he's not fatigued anymore. You can only hope.
He'll be fatigued on the weekend.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. He's definitely going to be fatigued on the weekend. So it's a bit of a shame. Look, whatever, it is what it is. Hopefully he comes through the game unscathed, and I hope he does well and gets on the score sheet and whatnot. I just hope he comes back fit and healthy. But yeah, the Dier situation, it's not great. Hamstring problems. The problem with hamstrings are if you aggravate them, they can always end up in a tear, and if you just pull it, it's a couple of weeks or whatever. So that's all right. But if it ends up in a tear, we saw with Harry Kane how long that could be out. Yeah. So you got to manage them carefully, and hopefully he'll be fit for the weekend. But that's a bit of a worrying sign there from Eric Dier. Maybe they'll force through, if he is injured, it could force through a move for Joe Rodon, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I don't know why Harry Winks has been pulled out, and I'm not 100% sure.
There's literally been no news about it. It's just said Harry Winks has been withdrawn.
Bit of a weird one, but yeah, Dier being injured, it's always going to happen. All these games played, is always going to pick someone's going to pick something up. And it's just, it looks like Dier.
At the end of the day, I'm happy that we've only got a player out with a minor hamstring strain as opposed to Reguilon being out, Kane being out.
We've still got We've still got 6 players left to play tonight. So we'll see how cross our fingers, see what happens. But hopefully they'll be all right for the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on. And Joe Hart has been talking on the Tottenham website, and some really, really interesting quotes. I want to know what you think about them. So he's saying that it's a powerful squad, a squad that is starting to realise how special it could be. It's a squad where it's proved already that everyone has a role to play, whatever that may be. If we're going to be successful, we need to get our heads around that.
Yeah, I think he's 100% right. And I think the people in the squad need to realise that everyone this season has a big role to play. Doesn't matter if you're in the team at the moment or out of the team or whatever it is. I think the way our squad is set up and the way Jose will want to set up his squad, I think we're going to use different weapons for different matches. So everyone's going to be ready to step in at all times. And also, there's going to be injuries. There's going to be a lot of games. No one can play every game, especially when they're all coming thick and fast. So I think he's definitely right on that. And I hope he's right in terms of the squad realising how good we actually are now at this point in time. Because I think the fans can see it for sure in terms of how strong we are. We made a video about how we could win the league.
Yeah.
I think we're waking up to actually how put together this squad is, and I'm just hoping that the squad start to realise it, and maybe we can actually achieve something big this season. And it's good that Joe Hart's saying that the squad are starting to realise, and he's obviously a winner. He's won 2 Premier League titles, so he knows what it feels like to lift a trophy, and hopefully he can help us along the journey.
I mean, if someone look, everyone has their own feelings about Joe Hart and how he's been the last 5-6 years, but like you said, he's been there, done it. He's won the Premier League, so if he's been in squads in and around that have been that good to win the Premier League, and he's feeling that kind of special vibe, and everyone's starting to realise how special this squad could be. Surely that's only good things.
100%. I completely agree. And I think it needs to be drilled into them that now's the time. There's no waiting a year, another year. We have to strike while the iron's hot. And I think we've got a really good squad right now. We've got quality all over the pitch. Everyone battling for places. We've seen how open the Premier League can be this year. I know it's still very early doors, but I think we got to aim for the top. I really do. There's no reason. We got all the ingredients in place. I'm not saying we're favourites for the league or anything, but there's all the ingredients there to really give it a really good challenge.
100%.
So I think hopefully with people like Joe Hart around as well, and Gareth Bale, who've all been there and won big trophies, hopefully it can help us along the way.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to some transfer rumours. Duncan Castles of the Transfer Window podcast says that Gareth Bale is trying to push Spurs to sign centre-back Joe Rodon to strengthen the back line. I mean, they're saying that Bale was kind of sanctioned the move. They're talking like Bale's Daniel Levy here. But look, I've seen him play a couple of times now since we've been linked for Wales, and I'm really, really impressed with him. Really impressed with him.
Okay, and we all know Bale knows him very well from his time with Wales.
And Ben Davies has had the quotes about him as well, and obviously the director Trevor Birch as well.
And in terms of the Duncan Castle's not the most reliable source, although when it comes to like Jose Mourinho, apparently he's quite reliable, which is a weird one. Apparently he has good contacts with Jose, but in terms of the Athletic, I read as well that they say there's. I think we reported this the other day, but they just reiterated it today that they are very confident that a deal was going to go through before the deadline, but they're still not sure whether. They're still not sure whether it'll be a loan deal back to Swansea or just, we'll sign him now. And apparently we have offered Carter Vickers, but Swansea aren't interested, or we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think for me personally, I'd rather get him in now, just because I think even... I just think because I know we want Skriniar and everything, but we need another centre back in there, and I think if he comes in now and he steps up, then it could be a very good option for us. And I think it's better to have him in the squad available than have him back out on loan for Swansea, even if it means getting more appearances. In terms of Europa League, yes, he won't be available for Europa League. First of all, only up until January, and second of all, we probably don't need him in Europa League anyway. We've got enough cover for that position. We've got enough defenders who can cover the Europa League places. It just means he can maybe play in some Premier League games, which would be good for his development. And look, I'm not going to lie, I haven't seen much of him, but I know he's a promising young centre-back who's 22. He's not a teenager, so he could be ready to play in the first team.
He looks like he's ready. I mean, he's physical, he's big, he's strong. I mean, he looks good on the ball as well. So look, I think he'd be a great signing. And if Bale
says he's good, then I think let's give it a go. Bale sees him all the time in training as well, not just on the pitch, so he knows the kind of character and the kind of player he is, so I think it's positive.
Yeah, and I think when you're talking about him or a Skriniar, I don't think it's either or, to be honest. The way I see it is you get Joe Rodon in, you can even get Skriniar in as well, and then you kind of phase Toby Alderweireld out because he's getting on a bit over the next year or two. So for me, that's the way I see it. So I think that could be an amazing move if you can look at next season or the season after, and we could have a potential back line of Skriniar, Rodon, Dier, Sanchez and Tanganga. Mm-hmm. So that was great centre-back choices to have. And
also they're all young, they're all good for the future, and I think they all have time, they all have ability to develop a lot. And I think if we could have those four next season, that'll be really exciting. At the moment, you just feel like we are a bit short, and I don't know if you would you rather loan him back or would you rather have him now, Joe Rodon?
I don't mind either way, to be honest. I really don't. If what Alistair Gold said is true, that he thinks we will go back in for Skriniar in January, then I'd probably loan him back, to be fair, if we are going to get a Skriniar in January. Mm. So, look, I think if he could go back to Swansea and play consistent football from now until the end of the season, he could potentially add a bit more onto his transfer value as well.
True.
So that's the way I see it. Let's move on to the internationals last night. Spain lost 1-0 in the Nations League to Ukraine. Reguilon playing 90 minutes, so that puts to bed his injury woes and injury claims. And then as well, in the England under-21s last night, they beat Turkey 2-1 with Skip and Sessegnon both playing 90 minutes. Sessegnon nearly getting on the score sheet, but it took a massive deflection.
I think it was a cross that deflected in.
Right, it was a cross that deflected in.
I think he might have got an assist for the Nketiah's goal. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did. I
think it was a good through ball.
I was just about to get onto that. Sessegnon actually played really well throughout the game. I mean, he provided outlets pretty much all game, and a lot of fans that watched the game were singing his praises pretty much all night. So that's good news for Sessegnon. Hopefully he goes back to Germany now and really kicks on his loan spell at Hoffenheim. But what I want to talk about is the international football. We've seen Cristiano Ronaldo test positive now. We've seen Milan Skriniar. I'm not sure if that was on an international break. We've seen Kieran Tierney having to isolate because he was, in short sight of someone with COVID. Why are these international games taking place? Why is the Nations League still going ahead? Why are friendlies friendlies taking place. It's an absolute joke. Like, what in this current pandemic? Surely you put a pause on international football for a year. Like,
at the very least.
At the least. It's a disgrace. Surely it's a disgrace what's going on right now.
It's an absolute joke why the internationals haven't been postponed, especially because I could half understand it if we're still going through a qualifying process for a tournament like World Cup or Euros, but we're just doing it for Nations League and we're doing it for friendlies, for absolutely pointless games, basically. The Nations League should have absolutely been scrapped. You need to keep players. It's bad enough players, in their own time or whatever, they go out and they're partying or whatnot, what they're doing at the moment. But at least what we should be doing is keeping them as much in their own team bubble as possible, keeping them together, and so to mitigate the spread of the virus. Having to mix and match in international games, everyone's going to everyone, all the clubs are being all mixed together. They're all going to all different countries of the world. It's an absolute disaster what they're doing. Like, I don't know if they thought this through at all. It's pretty disastrous. It feels like couldn't be worse.
From the start to the end of this whole COVID thing, the leaders of the country, leaders of the world, leaders of football, they literally don't think things through. It's an absolute joke.
What do they think is going to happen when you're mixing everyone together, all different teams from all different countries, and you're sending them all to all different parts of Europe? You think this is going to help contain anything? At least when if you're just sticking to domestic football or sticking to club football, everyone's in their club bubble. You kind of travel with the same team every single week. You're all together all the time. You're not mixing with too much with other people, other clubs and whatnot. Even if you're going up and down the country, you're still in your own little coach and stuff. Yeah. But if you're mixing up with all different teams from all over the place, and you're traveling all over Europe, it's bound for something to go wrong. And with Cristiano testing positive yesterday, and I'm sure you'll get more positive cases coming back as well. Sounds like Bruno Fernandes might have to isolate for 2 weeks, which is going to be a disaster for Man United.
I don't get that. Why would Bruno Fernandes have to isolate for 2 weeks if Portugal is still playing tonight?
I don't understand how it works. I don't know why him specifically. It's very strange. But it's, I don't know, this whole international football at this current time, especially when it's Nations League. What is the Nations League? It's just something they've made up and put importance on.
Did you see the quotes from Arsene Wenger a few days ago? I know Arsene Wenger, we all hate him or whatever, but what he said was completely right. And he said the Nations League needs to be cancelled. If you go up to anyone, random person in the street, and say, do you know what the Nations League is and how it works, nobody will be able to give you an answer.
100%. It's the most complicated thing. And I kind of understood it. It kind of made like friendlies competitive, which was nice. I actually don't mind the Nations League
there's no problem with the Nations League, but there's no
right
point
now,
in having
there's no
it.
need for it. Exactly. There's no need for it, and it just complicates things. It's putting people at risk. It's putting players in terms of their availability at risk for their clubs, and then we're doing it for no reason, just so we have an international break. It's like, it's completely pointless. Scrap the whole thing. Stop mixing and matching teams internationally, and try and contain it as much. All this is going to lead to is that down the path of football has to stop again, because if too many people start contracting it, then the whole league is going to have to stop. Mm-hmm. And we have to kind of mitigate the circumstances as much as possible, the situations as much as possible. And the only way to do that is stop with these pointless international games and mixing everyone together. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Just think it through. Come on, guys, think it through. It's ridiculous.
100%. But look, there you have it. That is the Tottenham update today. Let me know your thoughts regarding any of the matters. Let me know if you have any thoughts regarding international football as well. Me and my brother both staunch supporters of international football being cancelled from now until the end of the season. I mean, it's got to be done, surely. We've got another international break in November, and then we've got another one early on in the new year as well.
And they're playing 3 games in this break. That's a joke in itself. That's a joke in itself.
Like, they wait till Corona to hit to play more games in an international break. It's an absolute joke.
The people ahead of these international games are serious.
It's all a money-making ploy. That's all it comes down to at the end of the day, surely, is making money. But anyway, there you have it. That is the update today. Let me know your thoughts regarding any of the matters we spoke about. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.